If you're going to be the best at helping people with literally anything, there are three major steps. Overcome obstacles, build a solid foundation, and then unlock their true potential for whatever it is they're trying to achieve. It's no different in health and fitness. But the health and fitness industry is wildly disconnected. There's many, many moving parts. There's everything from injury rehab to high performance training, and there's all kinds of divisions of people in between. No matter who you are, whether you're a practitioner, like a physiotherapist, athletic therapist, chiropractor, osteopath, and you're working at the injury rehab end of things, or if you're in the fitness industry and you're doing high performance training or lifestyle changes or anything like that, it doesn't matter. We all go through this growth and development where we're learning piecemeal little pieces of the puzzle here and there to try and help our clients and our athletes get to where they want to be. I can tell you I was extremely lucky when I started learning all of this and I started working as an athletic therapist. I had amazing mentors that truly believed that under all circumstances you're going to do the right thing for the client or for the athlete. So what I've worked on for the last, since 1998, I've been developing myself every day, trying to develop my skills. But certainly in the last 8 or 10 years, I've been working on making it more systematic, making it more, be able to cover all the bases so that I could build a business that didn't fluctuate like with every single season. If you're in the fitness industry, you know this as well. You really want to unlock athletes' potentials and all that sort of stuff, but you have to make money, and you're going to make money at this time of the year, but not at that time of the year. And, it really becomes ultimately super frustrating. So this is, like I said before, my obsession has been to build a system that would allow me to not only do the right thing, get people past obstacles, build a solid foundation, and unlock their true potential, be able to make it fun for them, affordable, profitable for me, not ultra time consuming, so I'm working every night and every weekend to try and accommodate every last little bit. And I can make a living that was more than just viable, was really rewarding on the work side, financially, give me freedom, allow me time with my family, and everything that comes with that kind of. So what I'm going to show you briefly now is the steps that I take and the systematic approach that I have to making sure that I cover all of those bases. You have to start with a biomechanical eval. The evals that exist out there today are abbreviated, which means they are not going to tell you all the little hidden secrets that are going on inside that person's body. And I have yet to see one that is built the way my system is built, which is it's progressive in nature. It's slowly, as their mechanics improve, and we can apply more force to what they're doing and monitor their mechanics and make sure they're not breaking down over time. But there's a major problem with that. The major problem is if I'm going to do a full assessment, and this is what used to, when I first started doing this many, many years ago, I started doing, okay, I'm going to do the full assessment right at the beginning. Thing is, it was like 2 hours of work. So the person would come in for 2 hours. I would work on it on my own for an hour, building a priority list and figuring out their program. They'd come back, I'd teach them the program. Now they've committed 3 hours of time to me, paid, $300-400, and they're walking away with a single exercise program. So the question is, how do you put this together? How do you make sure that it's cost effective, time effective, and all these things? A stepped approach is the way to do it. My stepped approach is, I start with what I call fundamentals. So a fundamental eval will check basically their neurological platform. Figure out if they can move certain ways, and are those things effective, realistic, can you start to overload it a little bit and see if they can maintain that. There are a bunch of things, and if you don't know them already, you're going to learn them, but there are a bunch of things that people need to be able to do before they even start exercising. So I do the first part, the fundamental part of the eval, figure out what those things are, and give them time to adapt to them. Now, neurological learning can happen fast. So When I first meet with somebody, I might meet with them. I do what's called a Kickstart program. The Kickstart program is 5 appointments. And depending on what their schedule is, I might do this over 2, 3, or 4 weeks, something like that. But in that period of time, we do I start with a fundamental eval. I give them little things to do. And because they're doing all these little weird exercises, certainly if you're in the fitness industry and they're looking, they want to lose weight and get in shape and all that sort of stuff, they're not necessarily going to get it from this neurological platform building. So in the interim, because I've broken up my eval, what I can do is as they're working on that stuff, between, the next time they come in, we start talking about other stuff. We start talking about nutrition and time management and cardiovascular training and lifestyle and stress and sleep, and there are a myriad of things that we can talk about. And if you're, on the injury practitioner end of things, as the rehab is tending, you get past the traumatic injury, that's when you start this process. You start doing your eval, and start building their lifestyle back. And it doesn't even necessarily mean that it all has to be you. It could be somebody else, an ally that you have, a professional you work with in your clinic or outside your clinic, and but you're providing a seamless pathway for your client. No matter if the client goes out or works with somebody else, they'll always see you as the point person on this. So that's incredibly important and incredibly powerful. So in the interim, we work on a whole bunch of, we could potentially work on a whole bunch of different things. The next thing I do is that I start assessing, now that we've built a bit of a platform, where I start assessing their skills. So, and incidentally, actually, this might even take a few different appointments. If I find something like they can't position their lower back at all, I'm going to give them some neutral spine drills. But then, the next time they come in, I might check all of their range of motion. And if you're one of these people that does like muscle activation, or if you're athletic therapist or physio or chiro, and you have techniques to unlock ranges of motion, this is when I do all of these things. The second phase of the eval is assessing skills. You have to stop looking at the conditioning process as especially going to the gym, and I still hear this every single day. I'm going to go do legs and chest. Like, what is that? And then at the other end of things, you see, I do all functional training, and functional training for what function? That is like, I drink fluids. What fluids? It's functional training needs to be narrowed down from some of the crazy stuff that people are teaching down to specifics. And doesn't matter what course you took, at some point they talked about specificity, and specificity is extremely important. I've narrowed it down to the 6 most important skills to build a solid foundation. So when we look at the 3 things we're trying to get a client, this here is our overcoming obstacles and the first part of building our foundation. This part here is starting the second part of building a solid foundation for movement, because I'll start assessing like squatting and lifting, that sort of stuff, and then start building them up, build a really solid platform. So complete the platform building process, or foundation building process, and then unlock their potential by developing all those skills to an advanced stage. I can tell you that my clients view me as the point person for really their ability to do anything. So when I refer out to an osteopath that has a different skill set than me because I need them to work on something with my athlete, these professionals are conferring with me. They appreciate the referral, but my athletes are always coming back because they're relying on me to keep that process going. I want to give you an idea. When you do a process like this, I'm going to show you a testimonial, and this testimonial was done after a very abbreviated first session, and he had a back injury, had tried a whole bunch of rehab, and got himself to, that sort of that 80% point, but a highly accomplished athlete, and wanted to go back to competing in CrossFit and other stuff. wasn't sure he would ever. He thought that there chances are here that this was the end for him before I met with him. So have a look at this, and you'll see that it's just a few minutes long. You'll see that at a certain point he talks about actually how much work we did together at that point, and I think you'll be surprised at what was unlocked during that process. So have a look.
I started training young. I mean, I was a swimmer when starting at age 10, a competitive swimmer. From then on, I mean, I've done everything. I've done everything from Ironmans to, so a super long event to super short events. I've done the combat challenge, which they call the toughest 2 minutes in sport. I'd gotten a new implement at home, went to pick it up, and it was that moment of, and I figured it was just going to be the typical, usually maybe 2 times a year. I wasn't fine in a week. Although it was an acute event, I think it was just the straw that sort of broke my back, more or less. And I have worked with a lifting coach. In a lot of ways, I think he actually positioned me incorrectly. I could barely train, and it hurt. There were times where I would sit there and have to try and warm up my back in a chair going to a call because it hurt. Yeah, it affected me in almost every way, shape, and form, and also took away the one thing that I love doing. I did everything physio-wise from dry needling. I was doing ART regularly. I was doing all the exercises that the physiotherapist recommended. They didn't seem to help much. You can look at it as either, okay, I can heal this, but then if you go right back into doing what you were doing, well, it's just a matter of time until you break again. And I didn't want to do that. That wasn't in the cards for me. Training is a part of my life. Exercising is a part of my life. I didn't want to just keep in this vicious cycle of, okay, let time heal things, go back to what I was doing, and break again. I think the difference working with Greg as opposed to other practitioners was he was giving me tools that were going to help me restructure, trying to create a positive change. Really, I think it was maybe only about twice. Greg gave me 2 exercises. In my mind, someone who is a good practitioner is the analyzing, or the ability to look at people's movement patterns and see what is good and what isn't, and what's working and what's not. And I think he picked up on it very quickly. More optimistic now than I've been in about a year. I'm training probably 5 or 6 times a week. A while ago, I didn't think I was going to be able to compete anymore. But maybe, now I think maybe I might be able to. I think, unfortunately, as far as strength and conditioning coaches go nowadays, it's too easy to call yourself one. Oh my gosh, if you could find someone who could do a full biomechanical evaluation, that would be amazing. To get properly evaluated, I think, is the most crucial step in the whole process. If you could get that, sky's the limit after that. The Holy Grail is the long-term ability to stay active. I think that's really ultimately my goal in life. And I never would have thought that 2 little exercises or movement patterns could change so many things. Every day as I do my exercise, I actually kind of thank Greg in the back of my mind, thinking if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't be back where I'm at yet. I don't know if ever.
Now that's the kind of testimonial I absolutely love. It really shows that just a small amount of work can really make a difference in somebody's life. And if you have the right approach, you can really get people to where they want to go. Now, I talked before about the different systems that are out there that either work at the fitness end of things or the rehab end of things. And if you haven't seen my explanation on the dead zone, I'll just give you a brief synopsis, because you need to understand that the impact that you can have with people, no matter what kind of practitioner you are, what kind of professional you are, whether it's on the injury side or the fitness side, that following the system that I follow can really affect more people, and it's in an area that there's a lot of potential for. So to give you a quick synopsis of what I call the dead zone is if you look at somebody's trajectory from, if you look at the industry, actually is a better way to look at it, from as a timeline, this end of things being, the injury end of things. So somebody's immobile, they might be completely immobile with back pain or something like that, or some sort of traumatic injury at this end. And the other end would be high performance. Now, for some reason, I guess I sort of understand it, but I've never really seen it this way. But for some reason, these fields are, maybe because they're so far apart for the timeline from the client's point of view, but they're radically disconnected. And for a long time, actually, when I got into the field, these people didn't like those people, and those people didn't like those people because they didn't understand each other. So what ends up happening at this point, and if so, let's say you're at the rehab end of things, you're working in a clinic, you sort of get pigeonholed into this area where you do rehab to, a certain degree, and this line is even a little clouded, where, like I said before, maybe they're like 80% better. But it doesn't really justify going for therapy anymore. They're sort of going to deal with it themselves. And you don't have the capacity, equipment, system, anything like that to help them push them farther along to high performance training. So this is, in large part, the practitioners that are at this end are, physios. A lot of athletic therapists like myself will work at this end of the industry, even though they don't really need to, exclusively need to at least. But chiropractors and osteopaths, people that are really working with, dealing with a pain issue. At the other end of the spectrum is anywhere from beginning fitness, and again, this line is probably a little clouded, fitness to high performance training. So just starting out, but the minimum requirement there, and it is a bit of a hard line because they're actually getting you to sign off on this, or they're getting our clients to sign off on this, is in the fitness industry, they're asking you, is there any reason why you can't exercise, not just from a heart health point of view, but from injuries, aches and pains, or anything like that. They want to know that you're basically signing off their liability on you getting injured. What this leaves is a massive swath of people in what's called the dead zone. The dead zone is people exist in the dead zone for one of two reasons. One is obvious. It's they still have aches and pains. They still have some sort of dysfunction, and they're not really quite ready to embark in high quality or high intensity training or anything like that, because it has them at risk for further injury. But the other people that are in here that is hidden behind, and why I said, that the training systems out here that are skipping steps and throwing people into high performance training is they're skipping the assessing people's biomechanics properly and in a way that's detailed, because there's hidden things in here. If their biomechanics aren't good, then you're putting them at risk for injury. You take them out of the dead zone, you put them into intensity training and work towards high performance, and writing's on the wall. It's going to happen at some point. They're going to get injured, and they're going to go back down to there. Here's what you really need to understand about this. I've talked about this in detail before, so I'm not going to go farther with it like that, except to say from a business perspective, what you really need to understand from a business perspective is if in blue here, I'm going to put a representation for how many practitioners, systems, modalities, anything is available for the clients that exist anywhere along this echelon. And the way it happens to work out is that there are a ton of services at this end. The services is probably even narrower than this. The services become very, very meek in the middle because there's not a lot of people that understand it the way you could from what I'm going to show you. And at the other end, there's lots of people that call themselves coaches, whether they're high quality or not high quality, but there's definitely services available at that end. There are very few services here, which means if you can leverage and start working with people in the dead zone, whether you're pushing them farther through the dead zone or drawing them from the dead zone out into your end of the business, then you're definitely going to be much more profitable and much more effective and have a more consistent business and much more rewarding and all those other things. The other beauty about this is when you look at from a population base, where most of these people lie, and it's sort of like this. It gets pretty narrow at the top. And I'm looking at active population here. If you look at non-active population, it sort of does this. But we like to work with our active population. Active population, there's lots of people that are injured, but there are tons of people in the dead zone. Tons of people in the dead zone that are begging for help to get them past their aches and pains so they can train properly. And our clients, universally, the people in therapy and fitness and that are going through these systems are getting smarter and smarter, and they want to be able to train well. That doesn't necessarily mean they have thousands of dollars a month to do it, but they're out there, and if you can come up with a system, like what I'm going to show you, on how to leverage this, you can build an awesome business. You can really help people that are motivated. These are active people, active population, and get them to working to something that's super, super fun. So here's the deal. I'm going to literally hand over to you everything that I've developed over the last many, many years, in particular the last 8 or 10 years, working on assessing people's biomechanics right from day one and showing you a progressive model on how to work over weeks, days, weeks, months, and build a business along with that. And it doesn't mean you need to build a new business. You could be working in the fitness end of things. You could just be working with the clients as an employee. But if you have a little bit of freedom to be able to do an assessment, model your practice properly, you can choose to either build a brand new business around this, or you can just model your practice around it, and you're going to be able to help more people, and you're going to build a business that does the right thing. Now, the things that come with this are, so I'm going to show you exactly how I do the fundamentals eval, exactly what I'm looking for, how we're checking for, the basic range through the body and trying to find asymmetries, give you some secrets on how I correct these types of things, and give you the exercise programs that you can very easily customize, which is what I do. I start with a framework. And we all know, or you should know, that a static exercise program is not adaptable for, hundreds of thousands of people, or the thousands of people or hundreds of people that you may be working with. But the way I do it is I take a framework and I have a preset program because I know the things that I typically have to work on. And then I just make small adjustments, and actually they get a book to my clients, and potentially your clients could get this as well, is get a book with their customized programs in them, and so that they can, follow exactly what's best for their bodies, and it's not hugely time consuming for you. So the fundamental assessment. Then I'm going to show you my lifting and squatting program, which comes with the complete assessment of lifting and squatting, right from the detailed nuances of what the building blocks for lifting and squatting are, all the way to the actual, all the different renditions of the lift and squat that I do teach, and all the programs that go with it. You'll get this, the same thing for the pushing and pressing programs, the assessments, the how I teach the exercises, and all the programming that goes with it. You'll get the straight pulling and pulling down assessments and everything that goes with that as well. All the programming that goes with that as well. You're going to get the perfect cardio balance program, which will highlight to you not only how to balance recovery work from basic cardio and high intensity training, but it gives you all of the progression sheets that you can hand to your clients, so that when you're making schedules for your clients, you can very simply say, okay, I want you to do this interval training program. It's all written out for them already. They can just cross-reference it and know exactly what to do. This course is designed to teach you all of the assessment tools that you'll need and the progression tools that you'll need. All of this put together is what I call a Master Strength Coach Level 1. And in the past, I've sold this for hundreds of dollars. The ultimate plan was to sell this. I think the last rendition we were at was $750 just to learn the course itself. And the overall plan was to get it to live sessions at $1,500, which is really like the industry standard. If you're looking for continuing education these days, it's anywhere from, I suppose there are a couple of courses that are very, very minute little courses for a couple $100, but otherwise they're like $400, $500 anywhere from there to like $4,000. And I know from my own perspective, I love to take courses. I love to learn new things constantly. Some of those price tags are heavy. And, like I never wanted people to feel like, to sit on the other side of a screen, waiting to see like, oh man, should I really even invest in this? Because we've all gone to courses that we've paid hundreds of dollars for and walked out like, yeah, I got a couple of things out of it. First of all, there's over 17 hours of content that you'll have access to online. You can consume it anywhere you want. Plus, with the coaching calls, I'll be there to help you, be there to support you through the process. Plus, all of the programs that come with this are the videos, and they're not just simple exercise videos where you just see somebody on a screen doing a movement without any audio. The videos will sort of take some of the work out of your hands, where you can hand it to your client, and it talks about how to recognize a poor movement pattern, how to correct it potentially, and in some of the videos it even tells you like if you can't correct it, tell your practitioner about it and see if there's something they can do to help you. Now, like I said before, we could have, just ramped it up over the next year or so and got it to $1,500. And it just didn't sit well with me. It wasn't something I was really comfortable with. And so lately, I thought, like, how could I best create a win for everybody involved? And this is what I've decided to do. To access this course and to access on an ongoing basis, to have access to all the programs so that you can know how the programs are working and learn them over time, and to be able to access, to be able to offer a discounted access to your clients, it's only going to cost you $39 a month. Like, if I had been able to consume, to learn how to do a complete biomechanical eval, build a business around it, to be able to really like get myself centered at any point in my career, I would have paid hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for it. None of the courses out there really offered that. But, they offered some great content, but on an ongoing basis, I didn't know that, spending, $1,000 was going to give me $1,000 back. $39 a month, I'm going to give you access to the whole thing. The course itself is 17 hours of content so far. I'm always adding to it, adding little nuances here and there, updating things, that sort of stuff. Because my ultimate goal, one of my real pain points going through, and I'm sure you've had this before too, going through my career is, to have a client come in and find out that they've spent thousands of dollars and wasted years of time trying to get themselves where they want to go, and they were really dedicated to the process, but they were spinning their wheels and going nowhere. This is my way of getting quality information out to the masses and to be able to really help more people. So it's super important to me that it's high quality stuff, which is why we'll continually update it. So $39 a month, and then what that gives you access to as a member is to get your clients on the system so they can access the exercise programs and you can guide them through the exercise program. So the system is designed for you to work with your client with the exercise program. They'll be able to access the site for $15 a month, which is half of what it costs right now for an outside person to come in and negotiate the system themselves. So it's super inexpensive for them, super inexpensive for you, a lot of high quality stuff, and hopefully will stay available for, enough time for you to get on there. But like I said before, I don't want you to get caught in a situation where we're throttling it back and you were like, I missed the window. So here's, if you really want to ramp up your business, you really want to learn how to do the right thing for the clients that are up and coming, getting people out of the dead zone permanently and work with them long term, and know how to structure your business for the long term. So and I alluded to part of the structure at the beginning, but there's a whole other structure that we work on for the long term part of the business. And to be able to build that out properly, then you should get started right away. And as soon as you sign up, we're going to start sending you content. And I do provide a guarantee. If in the first week you get the first set of content and in your eyes it's not for you, you shoot us an email and say, like, listen, this is not for me. I'll send you your $39 back, and we'll just stop the process. So it's really, I think, a no-brainer. You can test the system out and see, at least initially, the first content that we'll send you is getting you into the course, and then we'll show you later on in the course how to access the system. In the first week, if you don't like it, fine, then change your mind. We'll give you your money back. So I would encourage you, this is going to happen fast. I would encourage you to get on there, get learning right away, and start building a business that really does the right thing for all of your clients.